Are you a South African musician trying to figure out how to get your music as CallerTunes? Welcome to this episode where I plan on demystifying just that. Now, what are CallerTunes? You know when someone gives you a phone call and the thing you hear is brr, brr. Now, CallerTunes, you can replace that brr, brr to whatever song you want. So I plan on explaining how to get your music as a caller tune. Now, to get your music as a caller tune, you have to find a digital distributor. Just to give reference, a digital distributor is a company or entity that gets your music onto digital platforms, but some in South Africa actually get your music onto CallerTunes. At the time of this, I know that MTN and Vodacom definitely have CallerTunes. I'm not too sure about the other mobile services, but I'm just going to focus on that. But you want to make sure that if you're going to go about implementing the strategy, that your audience is either on these two platforms or they can get CallerTunes, etc. And a quick disclaimer, I'd like to say that I've never actually done CallerTunes for myself, but I received questions from you guys, so I thought I must do the research and pass it on. The reason I don't do CallerTunes in particular is because my audience is typically not on to this type of thing and actually found it annoying. So I did the research before and figured it's not for me. But if it is for you and your audience, then I highly suggest to carry on watching this video. There are 5 things that I think you should consider before you go about using a certain digital distributor. I'm going to give you those before I give you 5 recommended ones that I know that do these CallerTunes. So the very first one is linked to price. You have to understand the digital distributor's pricing strategy. Some of them actually just ask for upfront and no royalties on the back end, but some of them ask you for the upfront fee and also take a percentage of the money that you make from the CallerTunes. The next one that I actually think is highly important is customer service. When you're dealing with an entity, customer service is very important. Remember that you are giving your money away, so you want to give your money to someone who's going to help you as soon as possible. So I highly suggest that you do some research, check on social media pages of the actual entity to see if there are any disgruntled information, or if you can do some other research, I highly suggest doing that. The third one is to get the reputation from particularly Capasso, because Capasso actually also gives royalties from each sale of these CallerTunes. So if you want to really go into it, contact Capasso or send them a tweet to give you a list of recommended digital distributors. Another thing that I think you must look out for, some of these digital distributors have additional services. So if a DSP has an additional service, you want to make sure it's somewhat linked to music or advancing music careers. If it's not, then it's probably something that you want to keep in mind, that hey, maybe they're not really focusing on CallerTunes, maybe I'm better contacting someone else who's more focused on music development, etc. At the time of this recording, I was able to find 3 digital distributors that actually do CallerTunes. The first one is Aggregator Africa. They actually have the price displayed on their website. I'm not going to share it now because it might change in the future. The next one is Content Connect Africa, CCA. They also deal with other services, but I highly suggest you go check out their website. And the third one is Nazwa Digital. Nazwa Digital has several other services that they also provide, but I highly suggest you go to their website and check on the other services that they do provide. I'll leave a link to their website in the description below. I'd like to highlight that there are other digital distributors that are out there, but as mentioned before, I've never actually done CallerTunes, so I highly suggest that you contact more than one and you ask them how they work, and you get to gauge how good their customer service is. I also suggest, if you can spend time finding other digital distributors that may actually suit you better for what you're trying to achieve, I highly suggest that you do that too. Now, when you contact any of these digital distributors, I highly suggest that you actually call during the week instead of using their contact form on their website. I found that you get better customer service when you actually call them and you ask them questions over the phone. So you typically want to ask the questions that I said you should look out for, which are price, royalty cut structures, and the other services that they do provide. As explained before, Capasso actually gives you mechanical royalties from CallerTunes because it is a kind of reproduction in a different format, but you want to also register with Capasso and make sure that you set a notification of works for all the songs that you use for CallerTunes so you can get those royalties. Royalties typically take 1 to 6 months depending on where and when you start earning the royalties from CallerTunes, but I highly suggest that you keep that in mind, that you also get mechanical royalties from CallerTunes. An alternative strategy for CallerTunes is to actually use them similar to how you use Sync, where you actually write a custom song to a specific company. So for example, if there's a song that you know, like in my case, I have a song called I Like Chicken. So if there's a local business that I can go to and say, yo, I have I Like Chicken, I think it would really suit your business, then you actually say, can you use it as your caller tune? And that may actually help you in the long run. But you'd have to be more innovative and try use alternative methods to try get your music used more as caller tunes. Some additional recommendations: if your audience is big on that type of thing, caller tunes, then it's a good idea. If it's not, then you most likely are wasting your time and money. The key to all of these things is to try find where your audience is mainly listening, or where your audience actually spends money. If they do not spend money on caller tunes, then you're probably wasting your time and money. But remember that not all your audience would like caller tunes, so it's something to keep in mind, that you want to know your audience and what their preferences are. I highly suggest setting up a poll on where your audience is on Twitter, Facebook, or even WhatsApp to find out if caller tunes are something that they are willing to get into. Overall, caller tunes can really help add another revenue streams for all musicians. So I think if you want to go down this path, that you should spend some time, do more research, just use this video as some way to get to the next step where you go about finding more deeper and deeper. If you have used any of these services before, please leave in the comments which service, which DSP that you use and your experience. And lastly, don't forget to get those mechanical royalties from Capasso. If you do not know how to register with Capasso, have a watch at this video.